The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
All right, speaking of Canucks on the trade block, how about Jim Rutherford and Patrik Allvin?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, Canucks reporter for Daily Hive. That guy is Kyle Bowen. This episode brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL Live bets all season long. You know, there's been a lot of action going on around the Vancouver Canucks. Not so much on the ice, but a lot going on off the ice. The Quinn Hughes trade rumors in overdrive. And I think a big question that a lot of Canucks Nation has is, will Jim Rutherford and Patrik Allvin be the guys to oversee one of the biggest trades, if not the biggest trade in Canucks history? I'll tell you what I'm hearing on that front. I will also get into the Canucks news about them wanting Niko Hischier potentially and talk about the Battle of Sadness. I mean, I'm convinced, and some of our listeners have fired back at me about the saddest team in NHL history. I think it's the Vancouver Canucks, and I'll tell you why to cap off the show. But first and foremost, Kyle, shout out to you, man. Taking over yesterday while I was dealing with fevers and headaches and kid bugs and all that stuff, man. So, you know what? I'm not going to let the Canucks tear apart our relationship. I appreciate the hell of you, bro.
Speaking of which, I feel like maybe tonight I should just meet you at Rogers Arena after or something for a little, I don't know, a little something. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a pretty monumental moment in our lives, right? It's the sad club game. The battle between family members who happen to be the worst teams in the league. Again, over the last decade, you could say that both these teams have just been such a disgrace to the family. And since you and I are technically family as well, I think we should meet today for something, man. A little, not a celebration, but I feel like a little should we do a Christmas party today? I don't know. Maybe. Anyways, maybe we should pour one out for Jim Rutherford and Patrik Allvin because based on what I read yesterday in the Gary Mason piece and based on maybe some of the things that you're hearing, I think there is a lot of smoke to the fire when it comes to, more specifically, these two, aka the GM and the president, not even being quote unquote alive to make the Quinn Hughes trade. And I'm talking in the stance of them having jobs with the Vancouver Canucks, because that Gary Mason piece to me, it seemed like a hit on Jim Rutherford. Hey, by the way, this guy's actually been able to do whatever he wants. And it's his fault that this has crumbled. And now on the eve of making the biggest trade in Canucks history, we got to release this piece because, I don't know, this is, you take it away, Trevor, because again, when what I'm reading, what I'm hearing from you, it's just kind of it's making me even more pissed off. This team is just it's never simple, man. It's never simple.
No, it's not. And I do think there was some ambiguity in that article from Gary Mason. You know, I think there were some subtle shots at Rutherford in there. I mean, he kind of made a joke about the Rutherford parking spot at Rogers Arena. But he also said that, and this is the quote, I believe Rutherford has the complete support of ownership on whatever moves he ends up making. Mm-hmm. That line right there doesn't really sound like a GM who's on the hot seat, but I'll say this, and you know, I am the rookie full timer, but I will say I heard from someone who I trust that Rutherford and Allvin are absolutely on the hot seat right now, and that source, you know, that report shouldn't be all that surprising, because what we heard from, you know, Patrick Johnson back in September was that, you know, you look at this management team and the work they've done. He wrote an article in September saying that if, you know, the Canucks weren't in a good spot by Christmas, there would likely be changes within the organization. And God, not only are they not in a good spot, they're worse than anyone thought they would be right now. So I do really question whether Rutherford and Allvin are going to be around to stick this out. And
I don't think so.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't wish on anyone to lose their jobs, but at the end of the day, we want to see a Stanley Cup. We want to see success in Vancouver. I believe Allvin, you know, he works hard. You've heard rumors from other GMs, not even rumors, but quotes from other GMs that Allvin, you know, works his ass off, right? And I see that too around the Canucks organization. But you've also got a guy in there in Jim Rutherford as well, who has never successfully rebuilt when he's been in that situation. And now he's apparently taking all the trade calls as well. It's just a messy, weird situation. And this is a monumental point in Canucks history right now, Kyle.
No, it is. It's one of the biggest moments in Canucks history, one of the most infamous moments as well. And a part of me, again, diving, and correct me if I'm wrong if I'm expanding on the Gary Mason article too much, but I just feel like Gary Mason being like the vessel for Francesco Aquilini, being the puppet or whatever, him openly saying that like Rutherford has full control to do whatever he wants, to me is like positioning Jim in a way where it's like it's all his fault. Like there's Aquilini has not had his hand in any of this. And now I'm also not hearing legitimately from a source, but I heard twice on Sportsnet Radio last night when I was doing my, nightly podcast recap. I heard twice that the Canucks could be scared about attendance in January if they pull a Quinn Hughes trade off this month for rebuilding pieces. And then the Gary Mason piece also came out. And I'm like, if Aquilini and company are scared of those margins, like making sure people still show up to the rink in January, as opposed to like doing what's best for like the long-term vision of this team, doing what's best for like creating an identity and a culture and a plan, that's a damn shame. And again, we just now have seen Jim Rutherford been given all the kudos on what's happened with this team over his last 4 years. Practically, again, stating that Aquilini has nothing to do with this. Has nothing to do with this. And now I feel like that information is coming out because Rutherford and Aquilini probably aren't seeing eye to eye. Aquilini probably wants, the retool, the recalibrate, the reassess, the whatever it is. How about Aquilini, you read the damn room and start all over? But hey, again, maybe Aquilini sees that Rutherford and Allvin aren't going to move like puppets, and now they got to get, you know what I'm trying to say, Trevor? Like, this is some scary stuff. This is some scary stuff, man. And like right before one of the biggest trades in Canucks history, it's like, how come we can never have it easy? Just look at the box score, look at the stats, look at the history, and let's reset this whole thing. Rebuild this whole thing, start from the bottom. And again, Aquilini supposedly scared of attendance in January of 2026. Dude, nobody is showing up to the games now with Quinn Hughes in the lineup.
Well, and here's the thing, Kyle, and I wrote about this morning. I mean, it's kind of fascinating when you look at the Canucks attendance history, and whether people show up or not, it doesn't dissuade the fact that people are still buying tickets in the form of season tickets or partial season ticket packages, right? The Canucks throughout the last 20 plus years haven't dipped below 18,000 total in terms of average attendance a season, outside of that 21-22 season when COVID was affecting things, right? You have to go back to like the early 2000s, late 90s, where tickets were, below 18,000 in terms of average per game. And that's almost selling out Rogers Arena, right? You're talking about a few hundred tickets that aren't being sold. Could that change? I think it could potentially change if this franchise doesn't get this right. And you look at the end of the Mark Messier, Mike Keenan era, that was the lowest year. It was about 14,500 fans on average going to games at Rogers Arena. It started to tick upwards after 99, 2000. I do wonder if this franchise doesn't get it right. And look, the report that they're worried about season ticket sales in January is funny. I think there's legitimacy to it, but the point is they shouldn't be worrying about that, right? They shouldn't be worrying about it, right? That's not the biggest problem here.
It isn't. And I don't know if they're worried about like season ticket sales in January as opposed to just like single game tickets or whatever. But yeah, it's just like short-sighted. And for me, like, I don't know why I'm tripping on this, or maybe I'm being too nice to the Canucks fan. Again, we didn't go through the Messier era, but it's like, what is, and again, I'm not a successful entrepreneur like that. Like, I don't know the margins the way Aquilini knows his margins and whatnot, but it's like the Canucks have been bad for 10 plus years. And you're scared about moving the best play. Like, does he think like people are buying, like he's selling thousands of tickets because people want to see Quinn Hughes play? You know what I'm saying? Or like wanting to see, like, oh, people are buying tickets in Vancouver because they want to watch high-end talent. And we got to make sure we get a guy like Hischier back or some NHL ready players back, because the fan base in Vancouver, the fan in Vancouver, they don't want to watch a good hockey team. They want to watch good hockey players. Does Aquilini think that?
He probably does think that to an extent, Kyle. And here's why. I mean, look, when you look at tickets for Canucks games, what games cost the most money? Like I was looking at all the home games they have in January. It's the Oilers, the Penguins, now the San Jose Sharks, even with Macklin Celebrini. Those games are pretty expensive still, right? But if you look at like the Islanders and the Ducks, ticket prices are dropping very drastically, right? Like earlier this season, you would be hard pressed to find any ticket on the original market or the resale market for under $100 a pop. Now for the Sabres game tonight and some of the less marquee matchups like the Islanders and the Ducks in January, you can find tickets for $65 in the Upper Bowl. That's as cheap as they've been in a while. And obviously the Stephen Rush went way down as well. So look, I think, again, tickets are priced based on the talent that's there, whether it's on the Canucks or not. Now it's up to fans really, if they want to continue to support a team that it looks like it's going to continue to spin its tires. And we'll get to more of that on the other side as well.
But yeah, I just feel like at the end of the day, to me, the Vancouver sports fan, the Vancouver Canucks fan has already assessed the room and read the room. And I actually think more people would show up to the rink this season if there was a direction change, because that would be refreshing. And maybe you wouldn't get like high-end, like maybe even if you go like the prospect route and the first round pick route for Quinn Hughes, like you're still going to do some new faces there, and you're going to have a cheap ticket, and you're going to go to the game to see the new face. Like you're still going to do it, as opposed to like staying the course, being a mid team, and not listening to the fan base, like not listening to the consumer. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
yeah, it's
not about like rebuild or reassess or retool or it's like just for once, just like read the damn room. Read the damn room. Like we're not like I guess there are some like not brain dead Canucks fans who continue to go to games and support this team. And like, there's a portion of the fan base that gets mad at those fans because you're like, oh, look at what you're doing. You're proving Aquilini that he's doing the right thing and he's doing good business. At the end of the day, though, anyone can fan the way they want to fan, right? But all in all, I just don't think it makes a difference. Like Trevor, like I just said, like look at, you were there at the game on when was the last game? Monday? Like Quinn Hughes was playing in that game, and there were empty seats, and there were more
and a lot of Red Wings fans there, which we've seen throughout the season with like the Habs and other teams in the building, even the Jets.
What is the organization scared of? If we don't get if we don't get Niko Hischier back in a trade, we're going to have a tough time selling tickets in January. We're already having a tough time selling tickets, and it's because the fans are frustrated. They're not listened to, and enough is enough.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let us know in the comments. Would you buy tickets? I'll phrase it this way. Would you be more likely to buy tickets if the Canucks had Quinn Hughes in their lineup, or if they traded him but had a clear direction of where they were going? Let us know in the comments. Maybe we'll get to a couple at the end of the episode. And we'll be back on the side to talk about the latest report about how the Canucks want to stay competitive. All right, before we get back to the show, let's shout out our friends over at FanDuel, baby. It's the place you want to go if you want to bet on NHL, NBA, and of course, NFL as well. And man, oh man, NFL is in the stretch right now. The Seahawks doing good things, so are the Green Bay Packers, and FanDuel lets you get in on all the action, whether it's same game parlays, live in-game bets, or if you just want to bet the spread straight up. Let's go, baby. I'm looking at the game for tonight between the Canucks and the Buffalo Sabres. Guess what, Kyle? The Canucks are not even favored on home ice against the Buffalo Sabres. If you somehow feel like this Canucks team is bound for a win against the lowly Sabres tonight, you can go place it on FanDuel. Again, they are slight underdogs for all your betting needs. Go check out FanDuel on FanDuel.com or go check out the FanDuel app today. All right, baby, let's go shout out our friends over at Doer. And man, oh man, through all this Canucks sadness, Kyle, you know what makes me feel good? Is wearing my Doer jeans, baby. And not only that, the Doer shirts as well. I mean, come on, the holidays are upon us, and Doer is the place you got to go if you want your the loved ones in your life to look sexy and feel comfortable, baby. And I know that that's what I'm getting for Christmas. And not only that, you can help out, you can help your friends and family feel sexy, look comfortable. with our friends over at Doer. You can go use our promo code Locked On Canucks as well. Go check them out in store at 1757 West 4th Avenue. Use our code Locked On Canucks to get 15% off, or you can go to duer.ca/Locked On Canucks again for 15% off. Look sexy, feel comfortable with Doer, baby.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Please do us a favor. It's the holidays. Give us a 5-star review and hit the like button, man. That's life. And hit the link in the bio if you also want ad-free podcasting on Spotify and Apple and whatnot, okay? I think I said that right. Just hit the link in the bio and, again, unlock ad-free podcasting with Locked On Canucks. Anyway, speaking of you and you, let's get to the comments. Andrew saying Trevor changed his facial hair again. Trevor is okay. I may be crossing my fingers when I say this, but Trevor may be, again, Vancouver's Hollywood North. Trevor may be one of the best background actors of all time. So that's why he has to change his look every now and then, because there's multiple TV shows, multiple TV networks. Trevor's got to pay the bills, got to bring the bacon home. He has a family in the most expensive place to live in the world, right next to Dubai. And you got to do whatever it takes. And maybe that's why you always change your look up. Because, again, background actor, boom, bam. Sometimes you're from the 60s. Sometimes you're from, the future. That's life.
Yeah, you can't look like an 80s porn star all the time, right? So, and maybe I'm a confused Canuck fan, right? I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to look, But, hey, I will say, it's funny. I was thinking about this today, Kyle, but I've had 2 acting roles in my life, both in elementary school. I was Jesus in one play, and I was Elvis in the other play. So those are some pretty big roles, man. So
that's polarizing.
Not a big deal.
Imagine being a background actor in an adult film.
Oh, I wouldn't be the background actor.
No, you would. You would. Because you're a hockey podcaster, okay? Come on, man. The kids are watching. Okay, Trevor? They're looking up to you, okay? Where am I going with this? Speaking of the devil, speaking of Diddy, background actor, what? Okay, well, hold on.
Whoa.
Speaking of the devil, how do you say his name? Speaking of, well, I'm not gonna say this guy's the devil, but what's his name? James Wisniewski. What was it? What's
Greg Wyshynski? James Wisniewski, man. Holy, that's a deep dive right there.
Okay, Greg Wyshynski, reporting on ESPN. Correct me if I'm wrong, but saying that the Canucks actually want Niko Hischier coming back in a trade for Quinn Hughes. He thinks that's the case. And, This is something that we actually talked about, 4 or 5 months ago when Rutherford, became a snitch or forgot to take his protein shake or something. What's that protein shake all the old people take?
Boost.
The boost. He forgot to take his boost, and he started talking about Quinn Hughes playing with his brothers, with the Devils and whatnot. And I brought this name up. I'm like, yo, if the Devils actually want Quinn Hughes ASAP, they better give us Niko Hischier and then some, right? And now, fast forward 5 or 6 months later, the Canucks are a bad hockey team, and they still want Niko Hischier. Because when I did say it that first time, I was kind of just thinking of okay, if you want to still win, we need Hischier back. But now it's Trevor, this is stupid. This is one of the Devils aren't. I mean, I don't want to say they wouldn't do this because again, Quinn Hughes is the best player in this trade. But the Canucks can't be thinking like this again, man. This is just how do you think you're going to be a better hockey team when you've been a shitty hockey team over the last decade? Again, you're like the Buffalo Sabres of the West, and you think you're going to get better by trading Quinn for Niko Hischier. What's the point?
Take a deep breath for this one, Kyle. I mean, look, I'll start with the report itself from Wyshynski. I know he said, I think the Canucks have tried to get Niko Hischier, are interested in Niko Hischier. I know he said the words, I think, but a guy like Greg Wyshynski, for as connected as he is, for as prominent as he is in the hockey world, I don't think he's just putting that in an article if he hasn't heard it somewhere, right? And that report lines up with what we've heard about the Canucks already, right? Which is that they want to stay competitive. They want win-now players. They also they want younger players, and Niko Hischier turns 27 in January. So he's basically the average age of an NHL player. But it totally fits what we've heard about the Canucks and the fact that they want to stay competitive. But the fact that this is even a conversation, the fact that this even got brought up in an article from Greg Wyshynski screams that we probably need a management change here in Vancouver, right? And I know I said 10 minutes ago, I don't wish anyone to lose their jobs, but we've suffered through so much as a fan base in Vancouver. 55 years of being one of the saddest teams in NHL history. And here we are in a potential Quinn Hughes trade where it's clear we need to reset for our future. Get some first round picks, try to build a Stanley Cup contender for once. And here we are trying to trade Nico Hischier for Quinn Hughes. First of all, the Devils are not partying with Nico Hischier, even if it is Quinn Hughes, right? It's not happening. But if you're the Vancouver Canucks, that's not the point. The point is that you should be trying to build for the future, not just trying to get win now pieces to stay competitive, to sell hope, to sell tickets in January. If this is the case, it's a load of BS, man. It's a load of BS if the Canucks management is truly targeting a player like Nico Hischier. It's time to reset for the future, give the fans some hope, put them in a positive direction. I mean, the fact that they want Nico Hischier, man, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And can we nerd out just a little bit instead of just puking out the same rhetoric for a bit? Can we just talk about Hischier versus Hughes for a little bit? Because the irony is, again, me and Trevor are old Canucks fans. We're 32 and a half years old. The time is ticking, right? Who knows how many more hockey games we have left in us? Yet you and I are don't do this. And that's don't acquire still one of the best players in hockey. Isn't that crazy, Trevor? Niko Hischier, you would say he's in the top. So I feel on some nights he's in the top 30. He's in the top, he's good. Top 50 on most of every night. Hey, he still could maybe even get better. And I don't know. I'm a huge Nico Hischier guy. Appreciate his game, but you and I are nope. Stay away from us, Nico Hischier. I'd rather have Nico Hischier than Austin Matthews.
Ooh, I like that.
No, I mean, I'm a big Hischier guy. I'm not going to say Nico Hischier is Sasha Barkov light, but I kind of am if, Hischier, locks in. And I feel the Devils would have more playoff success under him if he wasn't always just kind of alone because other guys were injured and whatnot. All in all, though, again, you and I are no, we don't want him. We don't want him. We don't want him. And again, you and I don't speak for all of the fan base, but I still feel we speak for most of them, and that's crazy. I feel that Aquilini, if you're listening to this, the fans are educated, man. The fact that we don't even want Nico Hischier is super, super duper telling. And I feel as if most of us would be excited to scout some prospects, start all over, and build from the bottom. Started from the bottom. Now we hear, right? Drake, Trevor's favorite artist, brought that one up. Canadian icon, better than Shania Twain.
No, not a chance.
You don't think Drake's better? You don't think Drake's better than Shania Twain?
Dude, Shania Twain's way more legendary than Drake, man. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care what the stats say. Shania Twain over Drake any day of the week.
Anyways, one thing I do want to touch on when you were, getting mad over there is you're oh, the Canucks need new management. It's dude, what manager's going to come in here and tell Aquilini that we do need to start from the bottom? I just feel I feel nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. And
Yeah.
Trevor, can you do some research? Does the owner have to sign off on the trade as far as signing the contract on the trade? Signing the final? Because if I'm Rutherford and Allvin, or any GM that wants to, have his hands all over the team and not give any of the blueprint to the owner, just ignore Francesco. Why can't presidents and GMs just ignore him? Because I don't care. I feel if anyone comes in here, it's been Aquilini's had this team for what, since 07 or whatever. And guys, just do the math. The culture setters were already drafted or traded for by the Canucks before Aquilini got there. Give credit to Gillis for filling it out, though, 100%. Just I forgot who mentioned this. I think it might have been Drance as well. Like he kind of talked about how like Allvin and Rutherford are good team builders, right? Like some GMs, like they can get the outside pieces and make things happen, right? And Gillis was right there too, and he did his thing. But what I'm trying to get at is like, I just feel like Aquilini's so hungry to be like this Canadian hockey team owner that also was the brains behind making it successful. Like that's how he wants to like accomplish this mission, as opposed to letting anyone have a say in what's going to happen. And on top of him wanting to have his hands all over this baby of his, he also wants to sell tickets in January of 2026. It sounds crazy to me, but you know, he's the millionaire. I'm not. He knows the business margins more than I do. But for once, and especially in a Canadian market that hasn't seen a Stanley Cup ever, can we not think about the business? Like, can we not do that? Just think about the hockey. Just think about the damn hockey. For real. But please. Like, here's the thing. I wonder if Aquilini's the owner before the Luongo for Bertuzzi trade. I wonder if Aquilini makes that. I wonder if Aquilini wants that trade to happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've heard very like different things about Aquilini, and even some people that have worked for him saying that he knows he's too hands on. Not necessarily that he's planning to be more hands off, but he knows he's too hands on. Again, Kyle, we're talking about a guy who's owned the Canucks for 20 years now, right? You think that maybe he would kind of change up his rationale or his strategy, and we thought that was maybe the case with a guy like Jim Rutherford and his experience in charge. I'm not sure what to believe anymore in terms of if this is Aquilini or if this is Rutherford, but what I do firmly believe is that until we see the Canucks make a future-looking trade, this is a team that wants to stay competitive, whether it's just Rutherford's mentality because he's operated that way for 30 years, whether that's Aquilini, whatever it is, the Canucks fans should feel like they're living in Groundhog Day.
So it's like the Calgary Flames. It's just like the Calgary Flames, And I'll take it even a step further. It's like, I'm not sure how long the current Calgary Flames owners have had the team, but let's just say they've had them for when, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Calgary Flames made the Stanley Cup Finals way back in 2004, right? That was a lucky season. Say what you want. Like, everything went right. They got timely goals, and they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Hey, they almost won the Stanley Cup if the refs didn't puck them over, okay? All that being said, like, since then, I feel like Calgary's tried to, like, get that. You know what I'm saying? And they've ignored any other type of business protocol because they're like, yo, it happened once before, it's going to happen again. And, like, leaning on luck and happenstance in an analytical world, plus not having the proof in the last 10 years that you know what you're doing and still doubling down on your philosophy, it just screams being full of ego. And I don't know what that wisdom quote is, but like the man who doesn't want to learn anymore is the dumbest mother ever, So anyways, Trevor, let's get to break.
Let's get to break. We'll wrap up on the other side with a little bit about the Battle of Sadness and some of your comments here on Locked On Canucks. All right, let's shout out our friends over at Monarch Money. And hey, maybe you're saving some money right now. You don't got to buy Canucks tickets, Canucks merchandise. You can help plan better for your future. If you need some help with that, make sure you go check out our friends over at Monarch Money. And don't just listen to us, because Monarch Money was rated Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. Let's go, baby. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings together your entire financial life in one clean, simple dashboard. And man, oh man, even though the Canucks are getting me down, I got to say, I do have less stress in my life because of Monarch Money. You can combine your accounts, your investments with your partners on Monarch Money. And you know what they say? Less stress equals more lovemaking, baby. Let's go. So make sure that you improve your stress, ease your stress by checking out our friends over at Monarch Money. Use code LOGDOWNNHL at monarch.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That's 50% off of your first year at monarch.com with code LOGDOWNNHL.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's reading your comments here on Locked On Canucks. Andrew saying, why isn't anyone talking about Elias Patterson being traded? I think Andrew also said earlier, something similar amongst the lines of like, we traded everyone else but Elias Patterson, right? Like that's kind of where it's going. And I don't know, just like throwing this at you, like it is he part of the plan moving forward, even post a Quinn Hughes trade? Like, I'm not saying you build around Elias Patterson, but is he like, like the leader on this team? Like, is he like that guy? Like, you got to keep him no matter what?
No, I don't think that's the case, that you got to keep him no matter what. At the end of the day, Patterson controls it, right? And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't think Patterson's no move clause is the be all or end all. I think there's probably a part of Patterson in terms of his personality that might enjoy being in a quieter market where not all the attention is on him. But again, with no move clause, like he dictates it, right? He really does. And you're already starting to hear some rumblings about like, could the Canucks trade Elias Patterson? And I think that mainly just stems from the fact that they threatened to trade on him when they signed him to extension back in March of 2024. But now, I mean, if the Canucks have a total management regime change and they don't want to tear it down to the studs, I mean, you're already going to be forced to trade Quinn Hughes. Trading Elias Patterson would really be tearing it down to the studs. And look, I've said it before, and it's not an ideal spot to be in. I do think Patterson can be a number one center in this league, but I think ideally at this point in his career and what we've seen from him, he's a really good second line center on a cup contending team. Not to say he can be a number one center, but that's really how I view Patterson now.
So like to you, Niko Hischier is just way better than Elias Patterson.
No, I would put them on the same page. Like even Nico Hischier, I'd say on a cup contending team, he's not a number one center. I know you're in love with Nico Hischier, but to me, he's a second line center on a cup contending team, right? And the Devils, if they had full health and better goaltending, they'd probably be there. They might already be there, right? Again, they've been battered by injuries too with Jack Hughes, who has a hard time staying healthy, as we've seen. But ideally, I think both Hischier and Patterson are second line centers on cup contending teams for sure.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Next comment. Man, oh man, this is just one of those types of episodes. Okay, LaPrimo saying nobody would want Elias Patterson's albatross of a contract. Again, I think there's a way around that. And maybe we'll get to this like down the road. Like maybe we'll trade him to Carolina. Maybe tomorrow's episode, let's talk more about Carolina's impact on the Vancouver Canucks, because maybe they could swoop in and take Patterson, and I don't know, maybe also inquire about Quinn Hughes. I think I saw a tweet with Dave Pagnotta talking about how like he heard this morning that Carolina, like, they will touch on Quinn Hughes eventually, but all in all, go Canucks go. And ironically, all of this is happening when Bo Horvat's one of the best players in hockey, and who are we going to play the Islanders on Sunday? What do you play the Islanders next?
No, I think the Devils are on Sunday. The Islanders are on this road trip though, for sure.
Islanders, Canucks. Let's see when we play them.
It's Friday, December 19th.
That's next Friday. Okay. So next Friday we play Bo Horvat, one of the best players in hockey right now. And this week we play Buffalo Sabres, one of the worst teams in hockey. And Trevor, I just want you to end the episode on this note. Just speak from the heart. Don't think, just talk. But for years and years and years and years and years and years, you and I have been talking about how nobody wants to say it, but the Canucks are like the New York Jets. They're like the Cleveland Browns. And yeah, they're like their blood brothers, the Buffalo Sabres. And it's ironic how all this is happening and we're losing the best player in franchise history. And the week that was this week, it really felt like the red wedding before the red wedding. And now again, we're seeing our cousins at the dinner table, and both of us don't deserve to eat. So yeah, take it away, Trevor. What's going on?
Look, I've said it before, but I think these two teams they're both the most cursed franchise in NHL history, right? I mean, both teams are 55 plus years, a combined 110 years without a Stanley Cup. And look, a lot of people forget, I think, because Buffalo's been sad for a long time now. So have the Canucks, though, might I add, that like early in their days, like the Sabres were the good team, right? And the Canucks were spent 20 years as a bottom feeder after losing on Gilbert Perreault. And they got slotted into the East Division back in those days with like Montreal and Boston. Like the Canucks have been cursed for a long time. Buffalo, I think, has been cursed more so in the past 20 years or so. Look, I don't know if there's no solace for Canuck fans here. It's been a rough ride. I mean, there's always been good times in there as well. Kyle, I just hope that better days are ahead. And, for better or for worse, we'll have you covered here on Locked On Canucks. At least I will, Kyle. The Canucks being sad might drive you away.
I'm here.
Okay, good. No, I appreciate that. I get it. Yeah, promise the people right now you'll be here for at least till the end of the season.
No, I'm here till Trevor. Me and you have signed a lifetime contract, man. 100%. As long as we have an internet connection, we will have the people. And on that note, Trevor, again, sayonara, hit the like button, subscribe to the show. Thanks so much for all your support. I do want to say, like, one day this week, maybe like after the Quinn Hughes trade, I feel like you and I, or I have to apologize for like being so wrong about this team. Obviously, optimism, brings out the best in me, but also has me saying like crazy things because I'm dreaming big all the time. But I was pro Marcus Patterson, after hating Marcus Patterson.
You were maybe a little more pro Marcus Patterson than me, but I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I got back on the Marcus Patterson wagon and all that stuff and all this jazz. And I'm like, holy, this has just been, it's only game 30. But, that's life, Trevor. That's life, man. That's why, again, I always say this. I love my girlfriend and she's the best hugger of all time. And without her hugs, if I didn't have her hugs, Trevor, the people wouldn't have me.
Hey, there you go, man. And hey, we need each other. We need our girls. We need you, the listener, because hey, we're stuck in purgatory for life. We'll see. Maybe one day it will end, but we know we got covered here on Locked On Canucks.